As the tensions between United States and Iran rises, you expect allies to stand together, right? But one country keeps stepping back, France, not supporting escalation, talking about diplomacy and slowing things down. And here's the interesting part. This isn't new at all. France has been doing this again and again. So the real question is, why does France keep saying no to the US? Because this isn't about one conflict, it's a pattern. And once you notice it, you start seeing it everywhere. And to understand this pattern, we need to go back little bit. 2003, the United States under George Bush is pushing hard to invade Iraq. The reason? Weapons of mass destruction. France, led by Jacques Chirac, isn't convinced. They argue that the evidence isn't strong enough and rushing into war could destabilize the entire Middle East. And this wasn't a quiet disagreement. France was ready to block the invasion at the United Nations. For the first time in years, two major allies were openly on opposite sides of a war. But this mindset didn't start here. Let's go back to 1956. Egypt nationalized the Suez Canal, a key global trade route. France and Britain worried about losing control and influence, and they team up with Israel to invade Egypt. But the United States under Dwight Eisenhower steps in and opposes the invasion, not just diplomatically, but it pressures France and Britain economically, which forces them to back down. That moment hits hard because France realizes even close allies won't always support you when it matters most. And this is exactly what shaped leaders like Charles de Gaulle. In 1966, France is part of NATO, but the Charles de Gaulle isn't comfortable with how much influence the US has over it. So he makes a bold move. France pulls out of NATO's integrated military command and asks all foreign troops, including American ones, to leave the French soil. And even NATO headquarters had to move out of Paris. And if you think this is just history, look at 2021. France signs a massive submarine deal with Australia, worth billions, and everything looks locked in. Then suddenly, Australia cancels the deal and partners with US and UK instead. France loses the contract overnight. Safe to say, they weren't happy. France calls it a betrayal and recalls its ambassadors from the United States. Different times, different crises, but the same pattern. So you wonder why it keeps happening. It mostly comes down to one idea. France really doesn't like depending on anyone. This thinking goes back to Charles de Gaulle, who believed France should always make its own decisions, not follow and not just agree. And then there is how they see the world. The US like to lead. France is more comfortable with the world where no one gets too comfortable at the top. Military style is different too. The US often goes big with the global actions. France is more selective and prefers small targeted moves with the same goal, stability. Just very different ways of getting there. And then there is identity. France takes its culture and independence seriously. Language, politics, global image, all of it matters. Because for France, power isn't just about the military, it's also about the influence. And maybe that's the key to all of this. France doesn't see itself as a follower. It sees itself as its own center of power. But here's the important part. Even with all this disagreement, France and United States are still allies. They work together, share intelligence, and handle global threats side by side. France doesn't agree with US because it's against it. It disagrees because it doesn't like being told what to do. So looking at all this, do you see France as a strong independent power or just a difficult ally? Let me know that in the comment section. And if you find this video interesting, make sure to like, share and subscribe.